Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sending the Wolf. My name is Clarke Wolfe. It's so good to see you today on Monday, January 20th. Now, Rufus, I'm just going to start things off by giving you a little overview of how things are going right now. Rufus, my dog, has come and sat right next to me, which he never does, for the record. Uh, and I think because I returned some furniture today, he thinks we're moving again. Because if you've also been tuning in, you know that I have been moving a lot over the last couple of years. So he's a little on edge. We might get a little cameo at some point. Who knows? But, you know, that's all right. He can make his presence known. I would love it if he would be more involved with our show. Anyway, how are you? Hi, Xavier. Great to see you. Uh, Welcome. Please feel free to say hello in the chat if you'd like. You're always welcome to lurk, of course. But if you want to say hello, love to say hello back. It's a holiday weekend in the United States where I currently live. It is MLK Day today. Hi, Colibre. So a lot of people have the day off today in the United States, and so we might I don't know who's going to show up in terms of our chat today. Hi, another Mr. Lizard, great to see you. Okay, Rufus is evacuating. He is leaving the room, so I guess he realizes that I'm not going anywhere. I have to say, Rufus is like the biggest team player ever. He's so cooperative in terms of just the chaos that is my lifestyle. And so if he's a little suspicious, I totally understand. All right, y'all. Stressful times. Yes, James. Thank you. I know. Oh, well, speaking of, yes, it's a great point. Hi, Steve. Great to see you. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Uh, also fun news today. I'm going to plug in my phone. Hold on. Also fun news today from the United States and California, where I currently am streaming from. We have another red flag warning, another extreme wind warning. It's in effect until tomorrow. Hopefully, the winds will underperform, much like they did last week, and no one will have to evacuate or go anywhere. But I have to tell you, I know that my friends and I definitely still have our bags packed. Hi, Sam. Yeah, it is a bummer to hear, but so far, knock on wood, we no new terrifying alerts. So that's good. Here, let's see. Let's double check. No terrifying alerts. But you never know. You never know what might happen. How if we do get a Rufus cameo, I will hold him up Simba style, Mike. I sure will. So this is welcome to Sending the Wolf, twice weekly live stream where we talk all things pop culture. My name is Clarke Wolfe. I am the host and creator of this show, and I'm so grateful that you are here and joining me today. Couple of housekeeping things. As always, Malum is on Shudder and AMC Plus. Feel free to give it a stream if you so choose. It's a movie that I am in that came out in 2023. And I'm very proud of it. And then what else? Oh, so this weekend. Okay, y'all. So award show talk. Let's get that off the ground. We finally got access to our screeners for SAG last week. And the good news is that it seems like a lot of the Oscar hopefuls are included in the SAG Awards. So I started watching some screeners this weekend. Okay, gish golly. See, it's so funny. And I see, Mike, what you said about watch duty. I got my watch duty going. I see what you're saying. The Griffith fire. So they did not even alert me because I have my alerts on and I have the sound on. But good job LAFD and all of our firefighting friends, because I'll give you a little hi Andrew. I'll give you a little insight into the way my brain works. The Griffith fire is what I was really worried about, actually. A fire in Griffith Park. Because that would be a big problem. But good news is, if I had the smarts to think of that, I'm going to go with LAFD also had the smarts to think of that, and they were probably ready. So thank you for that update. It's out already. That's great. Okay. So yeah, anyway, this weekend, screeners. Hi, Zach man. Great to see you. Welcome. Screeners. So as I mentioned, I think there's going to be a lot of crossover with the Academy Awards and SAG Awards. However, I spent my weekend watching a TV show, The Penguin. So, for whatever reason, I've been logged out of my HBO account. It's a whole thing. So I started The Penguin, and then my Roku finally caught up. Like in one room, I could not log in to my HBO account. So I went into I'm one of those not classy people that has a TV in their room. Actually, that's a good question. How do you all feel about a TV in your bedroom? I I grew up in a household, and it's so funny because my mom is not a couch potato, but my mom kind of always had the news on growing up. That could be local news, that could be daytime talk news, that could be nightly news, that was entertainment tonight. Like she just was a is still is a news junkie. So she always had the TV on. So I actually made it a point to like not have any sound on today because I think that's something where you're not supposed to always be stimulated by sound and voices and all of that. Whatever. But I went into the TV in my bedroom to try to watch The Penguin, and I got like 90 more minutes on the Roku. So I got a whole episode and a half. And then my Roku like refreshed, I guess. And it was like, hey, wait a minute, you need to be logged out. So it kicked me out. But now that I have SAG screeners, I watched the whole series. So Andrew says he's got a TV in his bedroom. Colibre also says they have a TV in their bedroom. Watch the news in the morning. Gishgali says I have my computer with YouTube TV in the bedroom. A computer in the bedroom. I will tell you what, that is one thing. I'm a work at the kitchen table kind of person. Or have a desk kind of person, but I got to spread out. Like I can't just have a small desk in my bedroom. Maybe you have a large desk in your bedroom. I don't know. But I will also say too that I'm an organized desk person, but I am a bit of a maximalist in that, there are things on my desk. They are organized. It's not chaos, but I do have a lot on my desk. This is to say, I would not want that in my bedroom. Oscar says no TV in the bedroom. Source of interruption as a couple reduces time together. That is so sweet, Oscar. I am single, so I love my TV in my bedroom. Nothing to interrupt in there. And Rufus, unfortunately, cannot jump into the bed anymore. I used to let him. He's not. I don't have. He just can't get that high because I've got a little bit of like an antique kind of replica bed. But otherwise he would be allowed in the bed with me. But hi Chris, good to see you. Let's see. James says TV in the bedroom, good for comfy movie watching. I agree. Sometimes you just need a lazy day. Also though, oh my God, do you want to hear? Why not? Let's be I'm going to tell you another little secret. I am a person who not full meals. I want to be very clear before I start. But I will eat in the bedroom, like in my bed. Like if I have a bag of popcorn, I will totally eat popcorn in my bed. Or again, not like full meals. I'm not going in there with like a pizza. But I definitely I will eat snacks in the bed, which is just so. I have a friend who every time I say that, and we've known each other a long time, and so we're like we're friends like this, but anytime I say that, he's like, ugh, so gross. It just like it freaks him out so much. And so every time I have a snack in my bed, I think of my friend Sean. Um anyway, okay. Let's see. Hi MK Songbird. Great to see you. James says computer in the bedroom leads me to bad work-life balance. Totally. But I do think it is efficient in terms of like watching stuff. I used to think that was unhealthy, but now I've fully given up. I have a TV, food, my computer, bed, books, video games, all in the same room now. You know what, CSH? You do you. You do you. It's tough out there. And we got to do it's the little things that make you happy, right? So, with respect to the penguin, a lot of love for the penguin in the chat. Sam says penguin is similar to the Batman. It was a slow burn, but that was quite a finale. Wow. Yeah. I actually liked the Batman. I didn't find it slow, but I do understand what you're saying, Sam, and a lot of people feel the same way you do. Mike says Colin Farrell and Christian Milioti are so good in The Penguin. And Mike Joyce says, I hope we see Sophia in the Batman too. Ooh. Sam says, I'm a Sophia stan. And Mike says, you should get a dog stool for Rufus. He can hop up onto that. Yes, you're right, Mike. So part of the reason I used to actually have a little footstool at the edge of my bed. But the last handful of places that I've lived, there it hasn't been deep enough for me to have anything at the end. But actually, this place that I'm in now that I just moved into, and please God, I am never please God, don't make me have to move again. I'm in it. I'm in it till April of 2026. That's a long time. But I actually do have the space. So you're right. I should find a way to I should finally, especially in Rufus's old age, for his senior years, he deserves to be in the bed. Although he does have a bed that he is very cozy in. But and James says the Penguin would be a great cozy in the bed series. Yes, exactly. That's what I did a couple of weeks or like 2 weekends ago when I got logged out of my HBO. It was like kind of a gloomy day. This was in December. It was a little cold. It was a little overcast, and so yeah, I just like snuggled and watched it. Another Mr. Lizard says, I actually quite like Colin Farrell now. Couldn't stand him for years when they were trying to make him the next big thing. I don't think even that felt natural to him. Another Mr. Lizard. I think he kind of didn't take to that either. Everybody said it, but it's so true. That makeup doesn't wear him. You know what I mean? It's so, what was I just, oh, wait. It was the trailer for with the Robert De Niro, the Kings one. What was it called? Alpha Kings or something? Whatever the him playing two roles. I was just like, this is Robert De Niro in a costume. And yeah, but it makes you appreciate that much more those performances, like Colin Farrell just totally like disappearing into the part. Brandon Bishop says, new Wolfman, what say you? Oh, well, Brandon Bishop, what a wonderful organic plug for Patreon. Had to do it. If you are a paid Patreon, Alto Nights. Thank you, Brandon. If you're a paid Patreon subscriber, then you have access. I actually did a little quick mini review this weekend. So if you guys didn't get the notification or you didn't know, head on over to patreon.com/Clarke Wolfe. And I did like a 3.5 minute reaction to the Wolfman. But to answer your question, Brandon, not for me. So that's a short version. Not for me. Let's see. Yeah, exactly, Gishgal. You keep forgetting that one of the De Niros had glasses. Okay. I think I have told this story on a Fear HQ stream, but for those who have not heard it, everybody makes fun of Clark Kent and the glasses and, oh, it's just a guy with glasses. Like, y'all, as somebody who wore glasses professionally for a very long time in my career, I cannot tell you how many times me without glasses would walk up to somebody, and somebody who I had just seen, by the way. Like this happened once at Comic-Con. I ran in, I saw this person like socially at Comic-Con. We totally, there was no confusion about who I was. And then for whatever reason, I was not wearing I think I was wearing contacts one morning, and we were at the same hotel, and I ran into this person, and I was like, "Hey, so and so, what's up?" And they just looked at me like, this who is this person? Like this person, and I was like, "Oh, it's Clarke." And they were like, "Oh my god." It's so wild how glasses, I'm telling you. And by the way, that is not the first time that that had happened to me. It happens more frequently than you would think. I know it sounds like I am making excuses for Superman and Clark Kent, but I promise you, I am not. It is real. Um, Brandon Bishop says, Wolfman really disappointed me after Invisible Man. Yeah, yeah. I think that's really fair. I felt similarly. But anyway, head on over to patreon.com/Clarke Wolfe. And if you are a paid member in any tier, you have access to the Invisible Man review. Um, Also, I have a little announcement. This Wednesday, day after tomorrow, I'm going to be a guest on Christian Harloff's show on YouTube. So if you are a regular watcher of the Christian Harloff show, you can check me out over there. I'm going to be doing the whole show with him. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait. And, excited to like be out there and talking about all of this. And obviously, Christian and I always have a nice rapport. So that'll be really fun. I'm excited to go on there and chat, and I think that'll be great. Oh, and then the last thing is I do have another little quick review. I had the opportunity to attend a stand-up show this weekend. There's a comedian named Matt Matthews who's based out of Alabama, but he is like blew up on social media, and just for being funny, which he is, and he started doing stand up, and he's very good at it. It's funny because there's a little documentary. I want to say it was on Discovery, but there was a little documentary about him and like his upbringing. It's a really fascinating story, but he talked about how like he never thought he would do stand up. He always wanted to be a musician. And but he started doing stand up, and he's, selling out tours. And what's funny about that is my favorite, I mean, he is a great stand up, but my favorite bit of his show on Saturday night here in Los Angeles at the Wiltern was the crowd work, which is like something you cannot, it's not something you cannot teach, but it's definitely like something that is hard to teach. And gosh, he was awesome. So check out Matt. He's on all the social media platforms. I believe his first stand-up special is on Netflix. Very raunchy, very blue, very not for the kids, let's just say. Not for the kids. Alvi says, "Have you watched Red Rooms?" I watched it last Friday and it was so good. Highly recommend for true crime fans. I have not watched it yet, but you are not the first person to like wholeheartedly recommend Red Rooms to me. So it's on my list. It's now on AMC Plus. Oh, you know what? I gotta watch that before my AMC Plus expires. But yeah, I will check it out, Alvi. You're definitely not the first one to recommend. Okay. Oh, and one last Patreon update. And I know I owe you all a watch along date. We used to do our watch alongs on Saturdays or Sundays. I know we have a lot of international folks in our Patreon, or people from all over the world, I should say. And so please feel free to go on to Patreon and let me know. Let me know like what your preferred times are to do a watch along, to do our monthly watch along. But also wanted to add, I did create a post today in Patreon, so that if you have a story that you want to talk about, and if you have a story you want to talk about, or topic you want discussed, please send it my way. Andrew, I did want you to know that I saw your post about Neil Gaiman, and I specifically didn't really touch that one. Last week, I read the article the morning it came out. I am a subscriber of Vulture and New York Magazine, so I read it. It's awful. It's just absolutely terrible. Um, Very depressing. I don't know what to say. You know what I mean? Like I really don't even know what to talk about with respect to it. It's a horrible story. Um eh, yeah. It's just okay, another Mr. Lizard. That's a really good point. May not be so much a time issue as to what content is readily available by country. Okay, cool. Well, that's not a problem. Usually I'll do a poll. And so you guys can choose like which title you prefer, and if there are issues with availability, we can always take that into consideration. So and Gishgali, I did get I got both of your items. I'll touch on the Jeff Snyder one real fast. So, and I'll just do it fast because I don't really have a ton to say about it. But one thing I think is kind of funny. Hold on, let me pull it up real fast. So Gishgali wanted to know this site. Okay, wait. Oop. Oh no, are we frozen? Uh-oh. Oh no. What have I done? Doop. Okay. Rats. Uh-oh. Oh no. Hey y'all. Did I hmm, did I freeze to you guys? Rats window. Let me know if you guys can still hear me or see me because I just lost chat. Rats. And of course, oh wait, actually, you know what? Hold on one sec. All good. Okay, cool. You're good. For whatever reason, my StreamYard has frozen. In terms of sharing the screen. And so I mean, in theory, I can do the show this way. It's fine. I made you guys bigger, so now I can see all your comments. But unfortunately, oh wait. You guys. Oh, Grandma Clarke is a bonehead. Never mind. Never mind. We got it figured out. False alarm. One day I will get a producer and I cannot wait. Oh no, this is what I want. Okay, cool. How do you stream? What's your setup? I use StreamYard and I use a professional StreamYard. And see, and I'm still just like learning the ins and outs. I also, well, it doesn't matter. All good. It was not a tech issue. It was a me issue. Surprising no one. Okay, let's talk about this real fast. Jeff Snyder, if you're watching, hey. I haven't seen Jeff in a very long time. I haven't heard from Jeff in a very long time. Uh, this is to say, okay, so Jeff tweeted on the 18th, I want to believe all those raves of the monkey, Oz Perkins' new movie, but they're from all the same people who raved about Longlegs, and we all know how that turned out. Then he went on to say, kicked the hornet's nest with this one. Who knew how many suckers there were out there? Oh yeah, Neon. There is literally no bigger easy lay fan base than the horror fans, who are easier to please than comic book fans, which is saying something. Now, Jeff, if you're watching this, hey. Hi Nicholas, great to see you. He might not be watching it live, but he might watch it. Somebody might tell him, Clarke was talking about you. And he'll be like, what? Let me look that up. Yes. So my answer to this is we know Jeff if Jeff were sitting right here, he would say that he likes being a little bit of a he likes trolling. We know this. We know. Um if he it is funny also that the other comparison was comic book fans because boy oh boy, if there ever was an audience that was not easy to appease, I would say comic book fans are in the top 3. Uh, Nonetheless, this weekend, and I think, yeah, exactly, Gish golly. Like, that was my exact thought. So, my answer to this would be I do think it's funny that he tweeted this weekend when The Wolfman, directed by Lee Winnell, produced by Jason Blum, a horror institution, not only underperformed its box office, but significantly, which it did, but it had a terrible cinema score. So it's kind of just like, this is how I know that you're just trolling. You know what I mean? It's like it's extremes. That's ridiculous. Horror fans are not easy to please. But say la vie. So, you know, that's what I wrote this on Patreon. So this was shared by Gishgali, which by the way, again, if you want to share any links or whatever and you want us to talk about it, uh uh when I saw Easy Lay, I sincerely thought for a second that this was a piece of movie news about a movie about Lay's potato chips. And at this point, I mean, can you blame me? Really? Can you blame me? Anyway, that's that story. Whatever. Now I want to go back. I want to go back because who was it? Da-da-da. Oh, and also Nicholas Vargo. No apologies necessary. Thank you. That's very kind, but don't even worry. Wait, now I'm in. Who was it? Mike? Who asked about the Brutalist? Because I have that mirror domains. Here we go. Boop. Let's talk about this story, which is wild. Mirror Domain says if us horror fans were easy to please, then the Wolfman would have gotten better box office results. Sam says I saw Longlegs like a month early. Neon and Letterbox sometimes invite me to screenings. Oh, I was one of the ones raving about Longlegs. LMAO. Listen, the other part of this that, and Jeff, if you're watching, this is, this is silly, very silly. The other part of that is taste. Like some people probably really, really did love Longlegs and did think it was sincerely scary. Longlegs was not my favorite horror movie of the year, but yeah, so it's just some people have different opinions. Lowell says I saw Wolfman with my dad and sister. My sister wanted to leave halfway through, while dad and I were like Michael Jackson and Thriller, eating our popcorn and enjoy it. Oh, is this true, Steve? That's really funny if that is. So anyway, Jeff, if you're watching, don't be silly. Don't be silly. Okay, let's talk about The Brutalist, because this was quite a story. And someone named Clarke Wolfe did not organize her tabs. I do have it open, so don't worry, everyone. Okay, share this tab instead. Here we go. This was an interesting story. Another Mr. Lizard says they should have to identify film and TV projects that have used AI like that in the title so we can make a choice to avoid it. That's a spicy take. I like it. Another Mr. Lizard. Oh, there she is, the almost birthday girl. There's a podcast I listen to where they kind of like find reasons to say, I didn't put my long legs on today. And every time they do it, it's like saying evil dies tonight. It's always funny. I'm not making fun. I'm just saying it's always funny. I forgot to put my long legs on today. Uh okay, Sam says I agree Long Legs was not my favorite of 2024 as much as The Substance or Late Night with the Devil. You, by the way, Sam, and Ariana Grande. Did you see that interview where she was talking about her favorite movies of the year and she said Late Night with the Devil? I was like, "Ari, I love it. We love to see it." CSH says, I thought Longlegs was fine. A solid indie film. He was lucky to get Nick Cage. We are all lucky to get Nick Cage, aren't we? He just a true one of a kind gentleman performer. Okay, so Mira Domain says thoughts on the Adrian Brody AI voiceover for the Brutalist controversy. Mike says seems pretty damaging for his Oscar chances. So let's read the article. Yeah, not the bees. Let's read the article because, or we don't have to read the whole thing, but let's review the article, I should say, because I did think at first I was kind of like, all right, they're talking about helping with some buildings. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, AI is working with some buildings or working with some like visuals, kind of like Fincher was talking about with the Seven, restoration. Okay, it's not, Kevin's out of focus and Kevin Spacey is as John Doe is out of focus in the back seat. We can use AI to actually fix this so that it looks the way it's supposed to look. That's not an alteration of the performance. It's actually like now you can see the performance, which was the issue there. He talked about another example during the restoration of Seven, where someone like camera op's arm got pushed, so that there's like a little bump. I've never noticed it, but anyway, the point is like that kind of stuff. I'm like, okay, it is what it is. But then I read on, and I didn't like what I read. Didn't like it. So here's what happened. In an interview with Tech Magazine, Red Shark News, editor David, I'm going to say David Janesco, that can't be right. I apologize for getting it wrong. Revealed that AI tools from Respeecher, a Ukrainian software company, had been deployed in order to improve the authenticity of the Hungarian dialogue of stars Adrian Brody and Felicity Jones. This is where I start to go, oh, I am native Hungarian speaker, and I know that it is one of the most difficult languages to learn to pronounce. It is an extremely unique language. We coached Brody and Jones, and they did a fabulous job, but we also wanted to perfect it so that not even locals will spot any difference. They went on to say that they first tried ADR, and then they tried to and it wasn't right in terms of the English speaking actors. Then we tried ADR them completely with other actors, but that just didn't work. So we looked for other options of how to enhance it. Now, this is the part that's really interesting, and I want to hear from Adrian Brody, and I want to hear from Felicity Jones, because as an actor, and I am in the Screen Actors Guild, we are supposed to be able to, it is supposed to, they cannot use AI on us per our last contract, if I'm not mistaken. And these are broad strokes, of course, but they cannot use AI on us unless we give our consent. So now there are obvious issues, like Adrian Brody and Felicity Jones are movie stars. That may be a little different than somebody like, say, me, who, if I booked a part and I did not consent to letting them scan me for AI or use my voice for AI or with AI as a tool, they could probably fire me and replace me with somebody else. So that's just one little flaw that is inherent in this, but it's, I would argue, better than nothing. Okay. Now, what is interesting is I wonder if Felicity Jones and Adrian Brody were told, we are recording your voices specifically to use with AI. Brody and Jones recorded their voices into the AI software, while he said, while Janesco said he also fed his voice to finesse the tricky dialect. Most of their Hungarian dialogue has a part of me talking in there. We were very careful about keeping their performances. It's just mainly replacing letters here and there. And then there's also this is the buildings section that I am referencing. Despite the explanation and the limited use of AI described, news that the Brutalist, which has been praised for its painstakingly crafted cinematic style, deployed the tool in its making, has been met with criticism, with many on social media attacking the decision. Sorry. Okay, so I don't know how I feel about this. Oh, and then finally, in the interview, he acknowledged that it was controversial to talk about AI, but said it shouldn't be. Quote, we should be having a very open discussion about what tools AI can provide us with. There's nothing in the film using AI that hasn't been done before. It just like, so I think what he's referencing is probably ADR. It just makes the process a lot faster. We use AI to create these tiny little details so that we didn't have the money or the time to shoot. All right, y'all. So what do we think about this? Mirror Domain says, I have no problem with them using this just not nominated for acting purposes, because by admission, they couldn't act well enough speaking wise to pull off the part. Well, that's an interesting take. I don't know if it's necessarily an acting issue as it is just a dialect issue. And, quite frankly, there's a long history in Hollywood of actors not having perfect pronunciation or dialect. If they're doing a voice, or sorry, not a voice, not doing a voice, if they're using an accent that's not native to them. So it sounds like this was just a very meticulous choice. I think Adrian Brody's performance is amazing, regardless of the tweaks to the Hungarian dialogue, which I wouldn't understand with or without AI. Sucks to see him mostly get penalized for it. I mean, again, it sounds like it was done with both of their consent. It also sounds like they gave their permission to alter the speech that way. There's also part of me too that feels like the director, like, it feels a little bit like this is a director choice, as in, if you knew you were casting these actors, then you have to accept their limitations as actors. And so I do think it's kind of disappointing that the director would just be like, "Oh, it's fine. We'll get a computer to fix it." Like, I don't know. There's something a little off about that to me. But then I guess you could say, actually, I don't think it's comparative to ADR. I don't think it's, or rather comparable. I don't think it's comparable to ADR, because ADR is still the actor trying to match something. It's still the actor doing the work. It's not the computer doing the work for the actor. So I don't know. Gishgali says, or let's see. Another Mr. Oh, yes. Okay. So James says, didn't have the money feels like a cop out. Surely you need to manage the scope with that in mind. Yeah, that's a fair critique. If you give them an inch, they'll take it a mile. I'd rather listen to an actor trying to do it than, yeah, I don't disagree. I feel that same way too. Another Mr. Lizard. Brian says, don't love the energy, environmental cost of any AI use. Okay, that's also a very, very, very valid point. That is a very valid point. It is very costly. Maybe not in terms of a film's post-production budget, but it's very costly in other ways to use AI. It's expensive. It's very taxing on resources. And, you know, and then Gishgali says, I can't imagine their accents were more damaging than the news that the AI is going to be. That's the thing is like, again, we all know that Felicity Jones and Adrian Brody are not Hungarian. So, like, I feel like the audience is willing to have that disbelief. And I don't see how it is detrimental to the movie if they did not sound 100% authentic. How could they? They're not Hungarian. I don't know. Mike says the Brutalist didn't come out near me until this weekend, so I guess I'll just have to see it for myself before I can judge. Brutalist is definitely on my list of SAG screeners to take a look at. And also with the runtime, there is an intermission. That's kind of fun. But with the runtime, I'm kind of glad that I'd have the opportunity to watch it at home. But that's just me. Lil says, I feel like AI, like any technological advancement before it, can be a blessing and a curse. Yeah. So I don't disagree. This is a tough one. This is a really tough one. I don't love it. I don't love it at all. And again, an actor's imperfections or shortcomings, it's part of having a human being do the part. And so woof, here we go. Here we go. And honestly, too, I wonder if this was not a bit of an unforced error. Like, I don't know. Oh, that's nice, Gishgali. No AI in Malum. That is for sure. Gishgali says, I watched Malum this weekend. I must confess, it's a relief to now feel confident that Clarke is a genuinely talented actor. Yeah. What if that, first of all, thank you. That's very sweet. But second of all, what if it was terrible? Who cares? Whatever. We got something made. But thank you for watching it. And thank you for thinking it is good. Okay. Yeah. We've got to, this has been a tough time for making movies. Okay. Now, that is a good, thank you for suggesting that, Mirror Domains. Thank you. I love this article. Well, I don't love this article. Uh-oh. I don't love this story, but I did pull it myself. So I'm glad that we could talk about it. But after we went live last week, we had some real breaking news. And this was my top story for the day that I knew we had to talk about. And I was running behind because I had to go to IKEA today and do a big return and borrow a friend's car. So I didn't put it in the title yet, but don't worry, that's my homework for today. But we need to get to the most important story of maybe, our lifetime? Question mark? And that is Anaconda, starring Jack Black. Oh no, I made it too small. And Paul Rudd. Y'all, this made me so happy. Let's let Jack and Paul.
Oh, hi, Jack.
Dude, you know what we should do?
What?
Promo.
Oh, that's
Let's
not
shoot a
bad
promo
idea.
right now on my phone. Hey, what's up, people? We're making a movie.
Guess what it is?
Paul Rudd and Jack Black star in The
Anaconda!
It might be The Anaconda.
Is it?
Whatever. There's gonna be a big fucking snake, and it's gonna rip.
You want to get scared? You want to laugh? You want to celebrate with your friends? Or maybe you're alone and sad and have nobody, but just want to forget about that. It's coming out on Christmas in 2025.
1 year from now, you're gonna come
In the theater.
That came out wrong. It doesn't matter what I meant. Come see our movie, Anaconda. Dude, have you seen the snake?
No.
It's in that room right there. They're about to feed it a donkey. Come on.
What did we do? This is what a wonderful thing. Okay, y'all, and there's more news too about Anaconda. This made me so happy. I did not know this was happening. How did I know how I didn't know, because I wasn't compulsively checking the trades every day back in December when this was announced. this is the pairing I did not know that I needed. This is another Mr. Lizard. You're off to write that hit song "Alone in My Principles" on that one. That's fair. Unpopular Opinions with Clarke Wolfe is the working title of my talk show. So understood. We all have them. I love Jack Black. I am here for Jack Black. He is an automatic yes for me. And I also can say that I know people who have worked with Jack Black, and they love him. They absolutely love him, and I think we can see why. That just made me so happy. Now there is more casting news about this. Hold on, here we go. As if now, remember when I said just now, another Mr. Lizard, you are off to write that hit song "Alone in Your Principles"? Well, guess what? The person who said those words, Steve Zahn, also joined the cast of Anaconda. Could this movie get any better? I do not think that it could. Anaconda movie stars Thandwe Newton, Steve Zahn. We've got some casting announcements. Let's get into it. This came out today. So Thandwe Newton and Steve Zahn have joined the cast. Oh no, come on. Work with me here. Selton Mello, who appears in Brazilian award season hopeful I'm Still Here and Ion Sky, have joined the feature that stars Paul Rudd and Jack Black. Mello will be making his English language debut with the action comedy. Tom Gormican, who directed the Nicolas Cage movie The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, is co-writing with Kevin Etten and will direct. This is something that I did not know that I needed. This has to be, so whatever this pitch is, which by the way is probably like, "Hey Kenneth," which is probably like, Jack Black fights a giant snake. Whatever this pitch is has to be good, because if you're getting Paul Rudd to sign up, and also this has to be a priority. This cast is pretty stacked, kind of amazing. How did this happen? How did this come together? I must know the entire story. I hope that How Did This Get Made does like a special on this, because truly, how is this getting made? I'm so happy about it. If you can't tell, I'm just thrilled. The original, gosh darn it. The original movie starred Jennifer Lopez, Owen Wilson, Ice Cube, and Jon Voight, followed a National Geographic film crew hunting for the world's largest and deadliest snake, only to find the tables turn. Okay, what do these sources say? The news story, according to sources, involves a group of friends facing midlife crises who are remaking their favorite movie from their youth. They head to the rainforest only to find themselves in the fight for their lives against natural disasters, giant snakes, and violent criminals. Black will play an erstwhile director, a man stuck in his job as a wedding videographer, while Rudd will play an actor who did a stint on a cop show, but sees his Hollywood dreams slipping further and further away. Like, this sounds wonderful. Newton and Zahn, gosh darn it, I am gonna smack my, I hate this thing. It's my mouse. I'm sorry. Newton and Zahn are other childhood friends that join the two in the ill-fated adventure, while Mello will play a Brazilian animal wrangler. Sky is playing Black's wife. The movie is now shooting in Australia, where it is being supported by the Queensland government. Is Amra here? Is Craig here? Craig, this is you. Oh, great. And it's fully formed. The banner, run by producers Brad Fuller and Andrew Form, is producing the movie, which has a Christmas release date. I have to tell you all, y'all, I loved like loved times a million. We talked about it, and it honestly seems like it has proven really successful for Nosferatu to have this as like this counter programming at Christmas time. So perhaps that's kind of the vibe that they're thinking. But I love it. I'm here for it. This makes me so happy. This is exactly what I want to go see at Christmas. Let's see. And I'm pretty sure this is a Screen Gems movie. So what's good about, and that means that it will likely almost 100% have a theatrical release. Greatest, just greatest. So happy. I hope the snake wins. I loved Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Jack Black is amazing. I love his work. Jack is a surprisingly chill person to be around. The only weird thing is he has a very intelligent eyes and kind of gives off a cult leader vibe. It's the old Scream release pattern. Totally. I mean, and also, by the way, like The Exorcist came out at Christmas. Like there was, basically like prestige movies coming out at Christmas, regardless of genre. Is something that has happened before. The Lowell says, I would join Jack Black's cult. Honestly, same. Do you all know the story about Jack Black's mom? I'm not joking. This is a real thing. Have you guys heard this story about who Jack Black's mother is? It is a fascinating story. And to your point, Gishgali, the weird thing is he has very intelligent eyes. Yeah. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to access this article. Fact check. Yes, Jack Black's mother worked on systems that helped save the Apollo 13 astronauts. Jack Black's mother was, I'll just read it. Judith Love Cohen helped create the abort guidance system, which rescued Apollo 13 astronauts. This is a post that kind of went viral. Ooh, here we go. Sorry, I skipped over. This thing skipped over. Okay. Judith Love Cohen danced with the New York Metropolitan Opera Ballet Company, wrote children's books, and worked as an engineer in the space program. A post circulating on Facebook points out that Love Cohen had a hand in another Hollywood moment, too. She worked on the team that designed the system that helped save the crew of the Apollo 13 mission, the later a subject of the Oscar-winning film. It went on to recount the day that Black was born. Love Cohen left work to go to the hospital, but brought along a printout of a problem she was working on. She called in the solution and Black's birth announcement from the hospital later that day. While some stories circulating online sound even too crazy for Hollywood, this one is the real deal. Love Cohen's son, Neil Siegel, wrote about his mother's life in a remembrance after her 2016 death. She was 82. Snopes first detailed the connection between Love Cohen and Siegel in an April 25th post that connects it back to the Reddit post. A user who shared the post on Facebook did not respond. Okay, whatever. But yeah, is that not amazing? Like, I seem to remember his father is an academic as well. I think you're right. Golly. Let's see. Love Cohen was an electrical engineer with a bachelor's and master's degree from the University of Southern California. She worked on several space program systems, during her engineering career. But Siegel wrote in his 2016 remembrance that she considered her work on the Apollo program to be the highlight of her career. She worked on the abort guidance system that was used to safely return the Apollo 13 astronauts to Earth after an oxygen tank exploded aboard the spacecraft. Pretty amazing, right? Siegel's remembrance recounts the story of Black's birthday when his mother took a work problem with her to the hospital and later phoned in the solution. Also included a 1959 photo originally meant to appear in Look magazine spread that he said never ran. It showed her with the Pioneer spacecraft. Black shared the same photo on his Instagram account in May 2019, nearly 3 years after his mother's death. Isn't that so wild? What a great story. I just loved it. I thought it was so cool. Jack Black's seems to be a very, very smart, intelligent man. Every time I read like deep dives with him, I'm always so impressed. Um, now I want to listen to Peaches. Funny. Yeah. So good. I'm glad we did that. I'm glad we did that little detour. A bunch of people allegedly just left the stream, but you know what? I don't care. I think it's a cool story. I also wanted to do a quick little follow up, and we won't spend like a ton of time on this. But last week we did a little Scream Corner, and we talked about uh, um, Mason Gooding officially returning. And I think I said, yeah, and I think Jasmine is coming back too. But I guess it had not been confirmed until a couple of days ago, like right after we started streaming. So, but yes, Jasmine Savoy Brown is back for Scream 7. Shooting in Atlanta, not starring me. They did not ask me to audition. Very rude. Okay. So, oh, and then I have one other funny story, and then like I'll get to some of the other ones, but I just wanted to share this with you all because as I was prepping, I read this headline multiple times as Joe Jonas lifts the lid on Disney Plus original Whiskey on the Rocks. Ronald Reagan and Leonid Brezhnev face off in Swedish Cold War submarine satire. And I was like, so at first, actually, the thing that seemed the most suspicious to me about this headline was Disney Plus. I was like, wait a minute, a political Cold War satire called Whiskey on the Rocks on Disney Plus? And then I needed a minute to be like, I guess they mean like Hulu? I don't know. But kept reading Joe Jonas. Just kept reading Joe Jonas. What is this headline? This is a real news story about a real TV show that is being made that I thought Joe Jonas was in. He's not. Yeah. I feel like Screen 7 is holding back the Clarke Wolfe casting announcement. Yeah, they got to save the best for last. Know what I mean? Okay, let's go back to my notes. I have a TV story I wanted to like pause it with you all. Tell me what you think. Wait. Hi, Ace Acres of Movies. Wait a minute. Hello. What is your favorite on-screen Goldie Hawn moments? What a really interesting question. I love Overboard. I do. I love Overboard. I think that's one of her best. She's really good in that. She's really good in everything, but I do love that. Okay. Oh, Stacy, you're welcome. Thank you so much for being here and for tuning in. That's awesome. I'm so glad. Please come back sometime. Yeah, Sam. Oh, I also read Joe Jonas. See? That's what I was saying. It looked like Joe Jonas. It was not. It was not about Joe Jonas at all. I just wanted to show you that really little, that silly, silly moment. Okay, can we talk about Dexter? Can we talk about Dexter, y'all? Do I have any Dexter fans in the house? Kishgali says my favorite Goldie Hawn performance is Foul Play. Nicholas says Overboard is awesome. Alan Silvestri's music, especially the main title, is a banger. It is. It's very upbeat. Oh wow, Mike. I think the only Goldie Hawn movie I've seen is the one she did with Amy Schumer. Wow. Mike, Overboard is really, really fun. And she and Kurt Russell together are just, and they're both at like peak hotness. Like they both are really like, they look amazing. They're really funny together. They're great. Highly recommend Overboard. I don't love Private Benjamin. I feel like that movie was very of its time. Goldie Hawn is very funny in everything she's in. I think she's hilarious in even though I don't love Death Becomes Her. I know. Don't come at me. I think she's really funny in it. I just think the other two are miscast. Yeah, sorry. Sorry, Robert Zemeckis. And I feel like there's like a huge Goldie Hawn. Oh, First Wives Club, love, love, love. Um, uh, Acres says, I don't use the other services you were on and am not on social media and didn't know these had started or I would have been on before. I was not informed of this until my estate worker informed me. I don't know. I'm so glad you're here, Acres. Thank you for being here. We're really happy to have you. Another okay. Steve says, I don't like Death Becomes Her either. Yeah, it's such a good idea. It's like such a good idea. Were we talking about Roger Rabbit here the other day? No, that was probably a personal conversation. Which, yeah, that was a personal conversation. Just talking about Roger Rabbit like you do. Anyway, Death Becomes Her is a great idea. Weird casting. Whatever. But Goldie Hawn's great in it. Okay, let's get back to Dexter. Another Mr. Lizard says, I checked out of Dexter before the final season of the first run. I just saw another person chime in on Dexter. Another Mr. Lizard says, I was up until a point a Dexter fan. Same, another Mr. Lizard. So I loved Dexter when it was first on, but my favorites, like, I remember loving season 1. I loved season 3. I think with Jimmy Smith's season, I ended up really liking. Trinity Killer is usually everyone's favorite. That is not my favorite season, although Lithgow is great. But basically, after the Trinity Killer, that show got a little wild, and so the ending is kind of gone down in history. The series finale of Dexter, of the original run of Dexter, has kind of gone down in history or infamy as one of the worst series finales ever. And I think that that's not only in terms of like the way the story wrapped up, but also the special effects were terrible. It just and y'all know, I try very, very hard to not talk smack about art because I know how hard it is to make it. But famously, Dexter has one of the worst series finales of all time. That said, Showtime just can't get enough Dexter. So this confused me. Michael C. Hall announces Dexter Resurrection is in production. Now, as you all might remember, the year that Yellow Jackets premiered, Dexter, kind of a new Dexter series, also was running. Now there are prequels. Dexter is still alive. Dexter had a son. Like, I can't keep track of all of this. But let's kind of fill this in with our friends at Bloody Disgusting. Quote, I am on the set for the first official day of production for Dexter Resurrection, Michael C. Hall announced in a video shared on social media. I'm looking forward to another thrill ride, and when all is said and done, to you taking the ride with us. Stay tuned. Okay, so the series that premiered alongside Yellow Jackets was New Blood. Set in the present day, the continuation of Dexter New Blood is expected to premiere this summer on Paramount Plus with Showtime. If I could just take a little detour for a second, we seriously have to get these names figured out. Hi, Ace. Great to see you. We've got to get these titles figured out. The Dexter : New Blood, Dexter : Resurrect. Oh, sorry. And then, of course, yeah, Paramount Plus with Showtime. Can it just be pick one? Michael C. Hall will reprise his role as Dexter Morgan alongside David Zayas as Angel Batista, Jack Alcott as Harrison Morgan. So Harrison, of course, if you remember on the series Dexter, even in the original run, Dexter did have a son, he had a son, Harrison. And I think New Blood was him all grown up. James Remar is back as Harry, who's Dexter's dad. So then, though, by the way, okay, and oh, sorry, we'll keep going. Dexter Resurrection plot details are being kept under wraps, but viewers got a peek at what happened following the moments of Dexter New Blood with the recent premiere of the prequel series Dexter Original Sin. Y'all, this is too much. This is too much. Dexter ran for 8 seasons between 2006 and 2013. It was revived in 2021, not 2001, with Dexter New Blood, and Hall returned to narrate as Dexter's inner voice in Dexter Original Sin, which debuted last month. So let's see what chat has to say about all of this. Gishgali says, pretty sure that Dexter's season finale aired the same night as the Ozymandias episode of Breaking Bad. Yes, I vaguely remember that as well. Possibly the best and worst TV episodes of television on the same night. Yeah, totally. Yeah, lol, hope you feel better soon. Ace says, in the same way I get confused about all the Walking Dead spinoffs. Yeah, at the very least. Well, actually, you know what? You're right, because Walking Dead, Dead City is Negan and Maggie. Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live is Rick and Michonne. Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon, The Book of Carol. What are we doing? What are we doing? Another Mr. Lizard says Showtime, all Dexter, all the time. Yeah, like Showtime basically is disappearing. It's with that whole thing we just read about, is expected to premiere this summer on Paramount Plus with Showtime. And what are they going to do for Yellow Jackets? Like, this is wild. Totally wild. Showtime, we live in crazy times. Anyway, yeah, Yellow Jackets is Showtime. Exactly. That's what I mean. Like, at this point, actually, let's look this up. Now, oh good, everyone. Tahunga Brushfire, now out. Good. I just got an alert. Sorry. Breaking news. Okay. Does Showtime have any original series still airing? Yes. Okay, let's see what AI says, because we know that this is not always right, but no. Okay. Yes, but what are the original series? Yeah, like I remember the what was that show? Let the Right One In. That was gone very quickly. Yeah, I feel like, oh, Billions. I'm not joking. Someone told me, Gishgali, you might be able to confirm with your internal like knowledge, but somebody told me that they are no, not somebody told me. This is in the trades. Trillions is coming after Billions, right? What are we even doing? Like, truly, what are we doing? Oh, thank you, Acres of Movies, for what you have to say. Thank you. I see you. I'm glad you enjoyed the movie talk shows. Sam says, what happened to that bonus episode of Yellow Jackets? Great question. A24 starts filming a new horror movie called Acid Mountain in May. Okay, the Chai. Okay, is it still? But are they still making it? Let's look. Streaming on Hulu. Oh, Hulu Premium. Oh yeah, the Lena Waithe show. That's right. Is it over? Nope. May 2024, series was renewed for a 7th season. Okay. So we've got The Chai, we've got Yellow Jackets, and we've got Dexter. They also have the UK Ray Donovan from Guy Ritchie. Oh. What is that? Wow. What is that? Can you tell me the name of it? This is just to say that there's a lot going on in the world of Dexter, I suppose. And also, I haven't been watching. I didn't watch New Blood, The Agency. You guys are teaching me a lot, actually. I'm really glad. The Agency, Showtime. Okay. Wait a minute. Is that Michael Fassbender? Wow. Y'all are blowing my mind. This show is on? Okay, can we just have a moment of not a rant, but like, I have heard nothing about this show. I know that the algorithms only give me like horror stuff. I get it. It's like whatever, but the fact that there is a show like this starring Michael Fassbender and Richard Gere, and like this cast is incredible, and I have not, and Jeffrey Wright, and I have not heard anything about it. That's unbelievable. I don't know how anything survives. Paramount Plus Showtime subscribers will be the first to watch The Agency. New episodes will be released first to Paramount Plus with Showtime subscribers. The Agency will premiere there starting November 29th, which wow. Wow, wow. Okay, Gishgali says The Agency is great. Finale is next week. And Sam says The Agency, I've been hearing about that a lot. The Associate is Showtime's upcoming show this year. Are you kidding? They're on the same network. They're having a show called The Agency at a show called The Associate. This is like grandma corner, I realize, but okay, I realize I'm not giving you great content here. This should be called Clarke Google stuff. Okay, Guy Ritchie's show is The Associate. Got it. Got it. Oy vey, y'all. Oy vey. Okay. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. That's Dexter Corner. We did Anaconda. What other news do I have? We did Brutalist. We did Jasmine. Oh, hold on. We did a little Jack Black detour. Feel really good about that. We did not Joe Jonas. I just thought that was really funny, and I had to tell you guys. Okay. MOANA. Let's do this. I just thought this was a really interesting little story. There is also a Trinity Killer prequel series in development. That makes more sense to me, actually. That makes a lot more sense to me than okay, so I was told by an actor who is more successful than I that part of the reason these shows are like doing quote unquote spin-offs. So for instance, Dexter, New Blood, or New Blood, Dexter, Resurrection, Dexter, whatever, is so that they have to renegotiate the deal every single time. Because if you sign up for like 3 seasons of something, each season, usually you get like a little bit of a pay bump or, whatever. And so I was told by a friend of mine who's an actor who's more successful, who was on a hit TV show, that's part of the reason why they do that. And I was kind of just like, oh my God. And like with this Dexter stuff, how can anyone keep this straight? Like truly. Um Ace, you're being very sweet. It's fun to look this stuff up together, just like your friends at a coffee shop. Well, that's the idea, Ace. So I'm glad you agree. Isn't that why it's Dexter Born Again? Yeah, that's what I mean. Is like that was my impression. Is we're just gonna keep doing new shows so that we do new titles, and like with your stars, basically you pay them whatever you pay your stars, but then your supporting cast who like doesn't really have a leg to stand on, that way they don't keep getting pay bumps essentially. If that's true, which it appears it might be, that stinks. Dexter colon cup of coffee and croissant with peach preserves. That's funny. I don't know if you remember this, but Dexter did bring donuts. He was the donut guy. Yes, okay, Gishgali confirming what I said. That is correct. For instance, Bosch got expensive after 6 years, so they made Bosch Legacy. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Yes, absolutely. Brian says to not pay past producers too, I think. Oh my gosh. What a time. What a time we live in, y'all. Just pay the people on the things that make you money. Just pay them a little bit more money. Like, come on. Okay, Moana. I thought this was a really interesting. It's not really. I just wanted to bring this up because Moana was once destined for streaming, crosses $1 billion at the global box office. So if you guys don't know, Moana 2 was originally conceived as for streaming. And in fact, I was told that it was even recorded like yes, here we go. The main cast reprised their roles as Maui and Moana, but Lin-Manuel was not back. He didn't return for the second movie. But y'all, and this was wild, by the way. Lin-Manuel Miranda, who wrote such memorable hits as How Far I'll Go and You're Welcome for the first film, didn't return for the second, instead passing the songwriting duties to the duo behind the unofficial Bridgerton musical. But I was under the impression that one thing I thought that was really interesting about this is that Moana 2 was actually recorded with different actors than the two leads, and sorry y'all, I'm getting fire notifications. But then when Disney decided for whatever reason that they were going to put it in a theatrical release, the Rock and the young lady who voices Moana both came back, re-recorded the lines with their voices. So that's kind of why like the animation doesn't quite, and it became $1 billion success at the box office, which I think is just like, yeah, must maximize shareholder value. I guess so. Let's do Fire Corner, everyone. Let's do Fire Corner. Okay. So far, I'm only seeing small fires. So these texts I'm getting, I guess, are to tell me not to worry. Now out. Granada Grass Hills, 405. This is the fun. This is how you know it's live, everyone. Not fortunately. Oy vey. Okay, let's check in with chat. Sorry for that detour, everyone. Yeah, just a little side note with the fires. Let's have a little fire corner. We're under Los Angeles is under a red flag warning from today into tomorrow. The Santa Ana winds are like picking back up again. And fortunately, last week we really it was not as bad as it could have been. But we're all just kind of keeping our eyes peeled on this just to be extra safe. And then, oh my gosh, wow. Mike, what can you do if you feel comfortable, like what general part of the world are you in? Oh my God, Ace Money. Clarke Wolf's fireside chat, hashtag dark. That's a very good joke. I am a fan. Good job. I mean, you have to listen. If you can't laugh, then you're in big trouble. Chicago, -9 tomorrow morning. Oh my goodness. How awful. How awful. Well, stay warm, I hope. I will say one of the biggest benefits, I think, or one of the it's like a blessing and a curse, of course, but it hasn't been super cold here in Los Angeles. So, at the very least, if we lose power, people are not going to freeze in their homes. I have to say, if this were happening last year, like the last 2 years, our winters have been so wet and they've been like very cold. I know there's a joke about LA and like, oh, everything is cold to you all. No, the last couple of years, like bouncing back and forth between Atlanta and LA for the last 16 years, I can tell you, last couple of winters were very cold. That said, um, you know, that said, okay. Ace says about Moana, supposedly it was a Chapek regime plan, and Bob Iger came in and said they were crazy and make it a movie. Oh, that's interesting. That's really interesting. I've been saying this for a bit. Hollywood estimates the female and or family audience. Oh, underestimates, I think is what you're saying. Which is why Barbie, Wicked, Inside Out, and Moana are hits. Totally agree. Totally agree. Oh, speaking of box office, hold on. We'll get into weekend box office. Steven says Moana did 687 million in theaters, but compared to Frozen, it was considered moderate for Disney. But it did so well on Disney Plus, consistently being top streamed movie for them. Right. So it does make sense that they would put Moana 2 on streaming, right? Because they think, "Oh, this is where this audience is and it'll be really popular on streaming." Ace says currently 13 degrees, -3 wind chill in Kansas City, Missouri. Oh no. Ace, wait, are you hanging out with Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce right now? Tell them we say hi. Just kidding, obviously. I see you, ZSH. I see you and I'm with you. Okay, weekend box office. I did want to point this out, and I didn't have it in my it's not opened up in my tabs because I am going to see One of Them Days on Thursday, so I haven't seen it yet. But I did think that this was cool. This is and I want to say was it Robert Butler on Threads who was asking about if this was the first time that two black directors had been like the number 1 and number 2 box office? And I was like, good call. That's actually a really good question. Kind of amazing. But yeah, MUFASA and just One of Them Things came in number 1 and number 2 at the box office. Oh, sorry, One of Them Days. And then yeah, Wolfman deeply underperformed. So congratulations to One of Them Days. I'm really excited to see it actually. Gosh, this is why, you know what? Wait a minute. Who just said, Nicholas says, I saw One of Them Days last night. It was a very funny movie. I think you will like it. I hope I do. I think I will too. Wait, who brought this up about, sorry. Yeah, Sam bringing up about like female, female centric, like Barbie, Wicked, Inside Out, Moana. Like these are huge hits. This is on that same token. This article points out that One of Them Days is, gosh darn it. Oh my God, this drives me crazy. One of Them Days is the first female-led Black comedy since 2017's Girls Trip. It is 2025. Girls Trip was a huge movie. I saw it with my girlfriends. We laughed our asses off. Like, Girls Trip made critically successful, commercially successful, and yet it since 2017, that's almost 8 years. That's crazy. Like, you would think, to your point, Sam, about like Hollywood understanding that the female, centric family audience is like they can line their pockets and they can make an F ton of money. Same with, I mean, just what are we doing? What are we doing, y'all? What are we doing? Steven says, happy for Kiki Palmer. I want to see it. Yeah. Oh, Mike says, saw one of them days today and I really enjoyed it. Great. Everybody we're talking to is saying they love it. I'm going Thursday. I'm going with my little movie crew with Hector and all. Okay, cool. Sam says, people really did show up for this movie. Nice to see Kiki finally getting recognition for comedic chops as a lead. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's her time. She deserves it. She deserves it. Okay, what else is on my list? What else is in my notes, y'all? Oh, okay. Well, this is like not really a story, but because I think I talked about this the other day about how Brandon Winfrey, one of our producers over at Fear HQ, when he was like prepping our Fearcast show, he'd always be like, yeah, there was like an article about so and so was asked if they would want to participate in this franchise, and they said, yeah, I'd love it. And he was like, so really that article can be summarized as actor says, yes, I'd love a job. And that always sticks out to me when I think about these articles. But, why not? Let's take a little trip down memory lane and talk about The Mask. Oh, hey, Amra, I gave you a shout out a little earlier because we were talking about Anaconda shooting in Australia. And I was like, oh, is Amra is in the chat? Steven says it feels like sometimes, unfortunately, Hollywood often sees female and people of color led films as being huge successes as more of an exception versus a new standard to invest in. I totally agree with you, Steven. Oh, well, Gishgali had this piece. Actually, let me share this before we get into The Mask. So Gishgali mentioned this in the chat last week. I had seen this kind of floating around a little bit on Blue Sky specifically. But for any horror fans in the audience, there's a new book out called The Cinema Coven, Witches, Witchcraft, and Women's Filmmaking by Alexandra Heller Nicholas, excuse me. So I wanted to bring this up and show it off because if you're interested in like film studies, I think this is a really fascinating topic. But one of the things that she kind of talks about in this interview is like how with all the talk that we've had over the last handful of years about women and directing and all that kind of stuff, it really hasn't been, it hasn't been this like overwhelming, oh yeah, let's get more female directors. Let's get more female directors. And what else is really interesting is like you see the things, especially in horror, the types of movies that women are invited to direct. And it is like, it's like, it was like the Craft reboot, which again, fine. That seems like it makes sense. But also like, of course, the women are going into, pitch on the Craft reboot and not Halloween. You know what I'm saying? Like, she did lose a lot of sales by not putting triangles in the title. You know how I feel about triangles. ZSH says SCA grew up only a few towns away from me here in Jersey. Oh my gosh, so funny. And then Sam said SCA proved she can act in addition to good music. Love it. I'm really excited to see it. Another Mr. Lizard says not even a release date for the UK. Oh, I hate that. Well, it was very successful here. That's the thing too about comedy. Another Mr. Lizard is like, they say, they're like, oh, comedy doesn't travel, comedy doesn't translate. So it's all, so maybe it's a little bit of that. I don't know. Did I ever tell you all the story about I think I told this on the Fear HQ, but speaking about like lady directors and what they're invited to pitch on, someone told me a story one time that after the Babadook and after Blumhouse kind of secured their deal with Miramax to do Halloween movies, Michael Myers movies, Jason Blum like saw Jennifer Kent somewhere and like approached her and was like, "Hey, like, would you ever want to direct a Halloween movie?" And and the story is that Jennifer Kent kind of like laughed. I was like, "No." And so then Jason's like, "Now women cannot direct." He's like, "Well, I offered I offered a slasher franchise to one lady and she said no. So guess I just gotta keep hiring a bunch of dudes for stuff." I just can't imagine. If that story is true, it brings me so much joy. I can't imagine. Her follow-up to The Babadook was The Nightingale, a period piece rape revenge movie. And he's like, "Do you want to direct a Halloween movie?" She was like, "I would pay money. I would pay money to have seen that." No disrespect, obviously. We stand. We love our Blumhouse friends. I love Danny McBride and David Gordon Green. So no disrespect. I just think that that's like really funny. If you know anything about Jennifer Kent, do not approach her and say, "Do you want to direct the Halloween reboot?" Anyway, I got a little laugh out of that. Yes, Ace, great point. The exception I've seen has been Nia DaCosta. Absolutely. She did. Yes, you were 100% right. And what a great choice to direct a new Candyman movie. I do love that choice. I'm so excited to see her Bone 28 years later, Bone Temple, right? Which we're not Googling, which we learned the hard way. Yeah, you're right. That is a great point, Ace. That is a great point. All right. Anyway, check out this book. Thank you, Gishgali, for the plug and for sharing this interview. I did read it. It was a great interview. And actually, if you are a member of the Patreon and you're curious about checking out this article, you can just check out the post that I made today, and the link is there. And as always, if you are a member of the Patreon, please, you are invited to share topics, stories, etc. that you would like to discuss. Yeah, Jennifer Kent would be great for Wishmaster 7. I mean, it's just so funny. Ooh, I love this story, ZSH. Tell us more. Fun fact, the first time I saw The Craft was at a yoga retreat in one of the most spiritual places on earth. Let's see. Rishikesh. I'm sorry if I got that wrong. India, the birthplace of yoga. That's awesome. Also, were they screening it as like, was it part of an event? Or were you with some buddies? Was it part of like a wellness kind of situation? That would have been funny. Okay. Let's go back to this. Cameron Diaz says, "Yeah, I'd make another Mask movie." Yeah, I like money. Cameron, that should be really what this is. Cameron Diaz says, "Yes, I love money." No, just kidding. To be fair, Cameron Diaz has been like, semi-retired, and she's like, "No, I'm only taking projects that are interesting to me that I want to do." But I did love this. I thought it was really cute and very modest, very charming. She said, "I've been riding those coattails from day one." Which, of course, if you've seen The Mask, you know that and you've seen anything Cameron Diaz, and you know that she's hilarious, and they were wonderful together. But it was such a charming answer. But anyway, she's out promoting Back in Action, which is on Netflix after 10-year retirement. And somebody asked her about The Mask, and she said, if Jim's on board, I mean, I've been riding those coattails from day one. The Mask is one of my favorite movies. Oh, and then also they have a little bit here about Jim Carrey talking about returning to The Mask, provided it had a strong enough script. The quote is, "Oh gosh, it has to be the right idea. If somebody had the right idea, I guess it's not really about the money. I joke about the money, but I never know. You can't be definite about these things. I said I'd like to retire, but I think I was talking more about power resting because as soon as a good idea comes your way or a group of people that you really enjoy working with and stuff, things tend to change." Now, I have to tell you, uh, I do want to say, and again, full disclosure, my buddy Josh is one of the main writers on the Sonic movies. So I have bias. I love them. But I did want to say, like, there was this little meme that was going around right as Sonic was coming out, where it was like the two headlines of Jim Carrey says, I'm going to retire. And then right next, like, I've done it all. I've done working. I'm retiring. And then the next headline kind of side by side says, Jim Carrey is in for Sonic 3, right? And the joke is, haha, of course, like it's very cynical, right? But I will say, you watch those Sonic movies, and first of all, they're great. The Sonic movies are great, so there's no question there. But you watch those movies, and Jim Carrey appears to be having a wonderful time. And so I guess I just feel like it maybe in a less cynical way, it's less about, oh, I'm coming out of retirement to do a third Sonic movie, which of course cynically you can look at as like a cash grab, and more like, no, actually, I really just kind of want to do the stuff that I want to do that's fun for me. And I have a really great time making these movies, to which I'm like, I love this. I think it's wonderful. And speaking, I see you all in the chat about Charlie's Angels. Let's get to that quote. It's in here. Here we go. In the same Access Hollywood interview, Diaz also expressed an interest in returning for another Charlie's Angels sequel alongside Drew Barrymore and Lucy Liu, joking that Back in Action co-star Jamie Foxx could play Bosley. And, quote, I'm going to text Lucy Liu right now and pitch her Jamie as Bosley. So I see you guys in chat chiming in. Saying, Steven says, we want Charlie's Angels 3. I don't care. Her, Lucy, and Drew could do it and bring back campy, fun female action films. Totally agree. Sam says the Charlie's Angels movies are fun. And then speaking of the Sonic movies, Mike says Jim Carrey steals those movies. He's been the best part of all of them. Going back to ZSH's story about The Craft, it just happened to be playing in our hotel yoga ashram while we were there, but seeing it there did feel like a very surreal and spiritual experience at the time. I love that. ZSH, and you never forgot it, clearly. And Brian Durbin says his Wikipedia still lists it that way, that he came out of retirement for Sonic 3. That's my guess. Sorry, I needed a little water. Apologies for slurping into the microphone. Gishgali says, Clarke, have you ever considered doing a documentary on gateway horror? You could just shoot brief interviews with horror filmmakers whenever you go to film festivals. That's a great idea. I don't know if there's much of a market for it. Maybe it would be fun on Shudder. Speaking of The Craft, The Craft, and the 2019 Black Christmas, which got so much flack, it got so much heat. Also was PG-13, and there were plenty of people, myself included, BJ Colangelo, like a lot of lady horror fans especially, were like, it's okay if PG-13 horror movies are like gateway horror movies, like, could you imagine watching something like we did watch The Craft at sleepovers when I was little, that was like a big gateway horror movie, and like it was a sleepover movie. Chelsea Stardust always says about Satanic Panic, like it is meant to be a sleepover movie. That's like the best compliment anybody can give me, is that they and their friends at a sleepover are turning on Satanic Panic and eating pizza and drinking soda, and like, hopefully I've made a gateway horror movie. So I think that there's definitely an interesting story to tell, Gishgali, for sure. It's just, as well as I do, getting anybody to like, gosh, give you any financing for anything. Maybe a podcast. That could be really fun too. Do you know this story? I heard Jamie Kennedy is also interested in returning to The Mask. This is not a joke. And I don't really, okay, I'm forgetting some of the details, but Jamie Kennedy gave an interview a couple years ago when Twitter was still Twitter, where he said something to the effect of like, oh, people were really hard on the son of the Mask because this. And I remember being like, and I kind of like quote tweeted it, or I said something like, yeah, Jamie, that's sure, like whatever. I didn't quote tweet him. Anyway, he found my tweet and he called me out online. And if you guys ever wonder why I get very careful, I'm very careful about trying to be polite and not talking smack about people's anything anymore. That's why I got called out twice. Once by Jamie Kennedy by making a joke. I was making a joke and I wasn't being a total jerk. I was just kind of saying like, I don't think the reason people didn't like Son of the Mask was this. And he was really offended by that. And then there was a movie that I saw that I straight up hated. And I did the thing that I don't do anymore, which is I tweeted about that it was just one of the worst movies I've ever seen. And let's just say that this movie was not like, it wasn't a low budget. It had movie stars in it. It had actors in it. And it was being touted as like this, it was being touted as a real like slow indie horror, genre bending classic, like whatever. And I just thought it was awful. And I tweeted about it. And the editor of the movie found my tweet, tweeted at me, and was like, everybody worked really hard on this and blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, okay, you know what? We don't say anything mean anymore because he's right. My opinion is just an opinion. And there you have it. Anyway, let's go back to chat. Steve says, Jim Carrey says he's open to doing Sonic 4. Yes, for sure. Steven says, I miss that era of movies. Charlie's Angels, Angelina's Tomb Raider, Halle Berry's Catwoman. Those who get it, get it. Those are you're just there for a good time kind of thing. Yeah, Shudder. I was thinking for the gateway horror, I thought of it because Universal Monsters were my gateway, and my favorite was Larry Talbot. Did you remind me, Gishgali, did you see The Wolfman this weekend? What did you think? The Ace Money. The Ring is like, anytime anybody's like PG-13 horror is not scary, I always point to The Ring or Insidious. The first Insidious movie is really scary. Let's see. Oh, that's fun. Steven says, on the opposite side of this story, I have gotten noticed by Halle Berry a few times on Twitter for being an avid Catwoman movie fan and defender. That's sweet. That's the thing is, if you're lifting something up, and there are definitely movies where they're not of their time. And so, something that was just like trashed or hated on, you go back and watch and you're like, wait a minute, this was actually really fun and wonderful. I can't believe, why did everybody hate this movie, And yeah, and so I think that that's always really good, is like sharing your positive unpopular opinions, because that is true. And look, both, to be fair to the editor of this movie that I said I really hated, and to Jamie Kennedy, they are right. It's hard to make a movie. It's really hard. So we should be supportive as filmmakers and as fans. But and there's a nice way. There's always a nice way that you can say something not nice. Or not flattering, I suppose. I don't know. Okay, I did want to share this. Did anybody uh that's a good point. Yeah, it's a good point, Kishkali. Okay. Did anybody watch Teacup? This is a little obscure horror corner. As we discussed, I do not have Peacock, and I still have not procured a Blu-ray player, so I am still not watching Parks and Rec again. But Peacock seems to be having a really tough time. And this also kind of makes me nervous. Well, unfortunately, like uh Brian Fuller's Friday the 13th series with A24, we know that Brian left the project, but the series is still like in the works. But that's a Peacock. I think it was a 2-season pickup, I think. But like correct me if I'm wrong, but Peacock is having a really hard time with their original horror series, like finding. I love that they're investing in horror. I love that they clearly think that horror on TV is really important and they're taking swings, but at the same time, it's just not sticking. And this is another example. Teacock, Teacock, no, Teacup canceled at Peacock after 1 season. So the show was inspired by the Robert McCammon novel Stinger. It was originally picked up straight to series. Again, similarly, just like Friday the 13th, straight to series at the Universal backed streaming service in 2022, and it debuted in October 2024. Per the official logline, the show followed a disparate group of people in rural Georgia who must come together in the face of a mysterious threat in order to survive. So the article goes on to say James Wan was an EP. Teacup did fairly well with critics upon release, holding a 70% critical approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes. However, in her review for Variety, their critic wrote that it begins as a fascinating and frightful narrative before descending into science fiction madness that fails to stick the landing. Likewise, Peacock does not typically release viewership information, so no one can gauge the kind of audience the show found, but it failed to make a dent on the Nielsen top 10 streaming charts. Juan and Atomic Monster, meanwhile, remain in business with Peacock. Of course, Peacock, NBC Universal, Atomic Monster and James just signed up with Blumhouse. I know film and TV are different, but makes sense. Production company is currently producing an untitled espionage drama for the streamer starring, Simu Liu. Oh, I love that. I love him. I have the biggest crush on him. He's so funny. And just really wonderful. I love that he's a musician. I love that he just wants to sing. I also love him on the other two. He was great. I love him and Barbie. I love this. That's great. Maybe you'll never watch anything again, including including Wicked. No Peacock in the UK. Didn't see it advertised anywhere on here either. Well, sounds like you're not really missing anything, but that's unfortunate. I was thinking about the last did y'all see the show Wayward Pines? Do you remember that show on Fox? I loved season 1 of Wayward Pines. I thought it was awesome. Thought it was so well done, but it was supposed to be a miniseries. And then when it expanded, it just all fell apart. I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. I need the streamers and the networks and all the people not the networks, the streamers. I need us to go back to the miniseries. Not everything has to be a miniseries, but some stuff should be a miniseries. For instance, I felt like The Penguin as an 8-episode contained story that absolutely can be expanded shouldn't need to be, but it has a clear-cut beginning, middle, and end, clear-cut arc for these characters. I think that is a great example, right, of the way a miniseries should be done. Meanwhile, I have to say, The Last of Us, I felt like season 1 started very strong, but felt so rushed in the end. And I think it was because it was 9 episodes. So not everything needs to be miniseries length. I think there is something to be said for a 12 episode, kind of like Game of Thrones. Honestly, for prestige TV, I felt like Game of Thrones had the perfect trajectory in terms of like episode count, the structure, all of that. And it just felt so like, yeah, I kind of soured on The Last of Us by the end, because everything felt so rushed. But let's go to chat and see what chat has to say. Okay, Mike says, I think the only show I watched on Peacock was the Ted Show. That seems to be actually very popular. That seems to be doing very well. Wayward Pines was great that first season, great book. I've seen the first season, hated season 2, same. Season 2 was of Wayward Pines was a big mess. I feel there are too many streaming services. Yes, Stephen. Preach. Like, I'm right there with you. Peacock and Apple TV are two that many people are just not willing to spend the money on. Ace said, I watched that season 2, Jump the Shark. That's, again, Wayward Pines. Yes, Sam, love this example. Poker Face people love Poker Face, is an awesome Peacock show. Also Traitors, yes. Traitors is one that I really need to get into. I know I need to get into. Manny says Mandalorian feels like that often, particularly the last season. Yeah, season 1 of Wayward Pines was kind of modern Twin Peaks. Yeah, Gish golly, I could tell. I mean, well, you're saying that the beginning was condensed, but gosh, that ending, that final episode, it was so, it really, really frustrated me. Mike says, I watched Poker Face 2. I think season 2 is coming soon. Yes, I think they are shooting it, or they were shooting it. Oh yeah, Sam says, so hyped for Poker Face season 2 and Knives Out 3 this year. Very curious about Knives Out 3 myself. Yeah, Steve, Peacock doing a Crystal Lake series. That's what I was talking about with A24 and Brian Fuller. I think it was a 2-season pickup, like straight to series. But Brian Fuller is no longer on the project, which I think is like such a drag. Steven says, I love the idea of the Batman universe using HBO for a villain spin-off series each season focused on a different character. I love that. Imagine a Catwoman focused spin-off season, Poison Ivy in the future. Oh my gosh. For the record, Poison Ivy needs to be the next Matt Reeves villain. Like, he's got to do Poison Ivy. I think that especially because his deal is like, okay, let's make this grounded. Like, let's make this feel like it could actually happen, right? And I think the way he handled the Riddler was great. That felt like, yes, this is a domestic terrorist. Like, we understand what he's doing. This feels like it could be real. But in terms of like female villains, especially in the Batman cinematic universe, I feel like Poison Ivy being a bioterrorist, like, somebody who is so dedicated to their cause, that they lose their mind and they take it to extremes. Like, I think that this is just so, and it's a female villain that we just, aside from Uma Thurman, and of course the wonderful voice acting work by Lake Bell in the HBO Harley Quinn series, the animated series, which is excellent. Poison Ivy is a character that like hasn't been done that much. So I think like it could be really awesome. My fingers are crossed that he kind of goes that route. But we'll just have to wait and see. All right, let's see if I have any other good articles or good stories here. I think we've kind of done most of them. Manny says it's only a matter of time until Matt Reeves' Batman is merged with the DCU. Also, Clayface has been announced as a film, which I suspect will ultimately be made into a miniseries. That's interesting because, Manny, that's Mike Flanagan. Mike Flanagan is officially attached to Clayface, which is interesting and a cool choice. So I don't know if Mike would want to do a miniseries. I feel like Mike kind of is ready to, maybe after his experience with, well, then again, I guess The Stand was supposed to be a series for him, right? Who can say? I don't know. Uh-oh. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm gonna sneeze. Sorry, y'all. That's how you know it's live. Sam says, I want eco-terrorist Poison Ivy in the Reeves Batman universe, right? Like, that would be awesome. WB got pretty far down the road with a Gotham PD series. Yes, before pulling the plug. They also have been developing an Arkham series. Yes. Yes, I remember all of this. I remember all of this for sure. It's interesting. I don't feel like Clayface is a well-known property on its own to warrant a film. Okay, so this is what's interesting about this. Just like point counterpoint. No, I pulled the article, but we didn't talk about it. It was about Andy Muschietti saying that he felt like The Flash didn't succeed, that his Flash film did not succeed at the box office because nobody knew or cared about The Flash. There are, of course, millions of loyal Arrowverse viewers who adore Grant Gustin who would say otherwise. But to your point about Clayface, and to your point, to Andy's point, I have to say respectfully, like not nobody, but general audiences did not know who Iron Man was until Marvel made a really successful Iron Man movie. And similar with the Guardians of the Galaxy, general audiences did not know who the Guardians of the Galaxy were until James Gunn made an incredible Guardians of the Galaxy movie. So this is just to say that in some ways, if it's in the right hands, I do feel like the lesser known Rogues Gallery for Batman is like awesome. It's in the right hands. It really does give the audience an opportunity to discover new characters and frankly to see stories that they haven't seen on the big screen before. Okay, chat is blowing up. Matt Reeves is almost too thorough and serious about writing and crafting these things. I totally trust that he'll handle it well. Which Clayface is it going to be, though? Great question, another Mr. Lizard. I don't know. Sam says Clayface has so much potential as an interesting story. Clayface got greenlit because they are very happy with the script. They aren't going to force it into a miniseries and risk screwing it up. Love that they're happy with the script. That's awesome. Yes, Ace, totally. We're in sync here. The best example of a no-name property being great is Guardians of the Galaxy. Steven says, Joker 2 has Harley and Joker, two very known characters, and it flopped so hard. Quality is very important. That's a good point as well. By the way, I still haven't seen, is Joker 2 on HBO now? Part of me wants to watch it. I haven't seen it. And I am of the opinion I did not enjoy the first Joker. So that's actually why I did not seek out part 2. But I am curious. Manny says, Muschietti's quote was absolutely terrible. I wish people would accept responsibility for their own failures. A man blaming women for his shortcomings is unfortunately nothing new. Yeah, that was and again, I pulled this article a couple of weeks ago when it was like new, and we just didn't get to it. We talked about other stuff. But yeah, he was like, women and girlfriends and families don't care about the Flash. That's why it didn't do well. And I was like, part of me was like, maybe it was the babies in the toaster. What was it? The opening scene? Were they in a toaster? Were they in a toaster oven? Babies? Mm, ew, mm-mm. Yeah, yeah, Gishgali, 100%. Um, Manny says, great point about Clayface. Wonder if they'll opt for well-known actors such as Robert Downey Jr. Who knows? Robert seems like he's going to be busy though, playing Doctor Doom. Um, Chat confirming Joker 2 is on HBO right now. Mike says it is worth watching. Yeah, Steve says Ezra's behavior was one reason for the Flash underperforming. Yep. This is something I would love to see one day, Ace, doing a live action Mr. Freeze story from the animated series with Bryan Cranston. Okay, I know it's because he's bald. He was bald in is that why you think that is great casting? I love that. Oh, is Bryan Cranston ever going to be in a superhero movie? He was in Godzilla. Spoiler alert, did not make it. What do we think? Do we think Bryan Cranston would ever be in a superhero movie? I don't know. Yeah, Mike says if you didn't like the first Joker, you won't like the second one. Microwave, that was it. Babies in the microwave. Babies in the microwave. Joker, Nicholas says, is only about as good as the first, which I found overrated. I only saw the first one because my local theater here in San Diego played it in 70mm. That's cool. Amra, Craig, a lot of people did work very hard on it. So this is why we do not talk negatively about movies. We try. We're allowed to have opinions. ZSH did not care for it. No, another Mr. Lizard. Andy did not do Power Rangers. Ooh, yeah. Well, Steven, did we ever think Denzel would be in a superhero movie? Alas, now he's set to do Black Panther 3. I mean, that. I know Denzel got in trouble for saying that, but honestly, like, wow. That's gotta happen. That's gotta happen. And Ace says Bryan Cranston, Godzilla brought great emotion and depth to his character. It was a mistake to kill him early. Totally agree. Oh, Bryan Cranston in Power Rangers. Sorry, I thought you meant didn't Andy Muschietti do Power Rangers? And I was like, no. Yes, I know exactly what you're saying. Yes, and Bryan Cranston, yeah, he did do Power Rangers. Okay, y'all, this was a very eclectic chat. We did it. We really did it. Okay, so as always, patreon.com/ClarkeWolfe. You can join for free. There are paid tiers, however you please. Also, somebody brought this up on Instagram Live last week, and I guess I should mention I'm on Cameo. If you want to say hi there, I'm there. Follow me on the socials. And what else? We'll be back on Thursday. As I said, starting in February, we're going to get to our regular schedule. Although we certainly have had plenty of things to talk about. I don't feel like we've ever wanted for conversation here. And I will be on Christian Harloff's podcast or show, the Christian Harloff Show, on Wednesday. We'll be live, so please check it out. Bring all your wonderful questions and insights. I love it. Can't wait to see you there. And yeah, you can follow me on social. I'm there too. Stay safe, everyone. It's cold across the country. It is, it's windy and there are fires in California. Just everyone, please be safe. Please take care of yourselves. Deep breaths, hydrate, all the stuff. No, Gishgali, you cannot do that. I will not accept your money for that. Friends about Angel Heart. Yeah, that's a really good one, ZSH. Angel Heart's one that I've never been able to finish, if I'm being honest. And so many people love that movie, and I've tried so many times. But maybe that'll be good for the Patreon. We'll see. Okay, y'all, take care. Be safe. Thank you for being here. Love chatting with you all, and I will see you again on Thursday. Bye, everyone.